What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of The Growth Blueprint. Super stoked to be back with you guys this week. In this episode, we're going to be talking about weight loss plateaus, and specifically something called metabolic adaptation as it pertains to weight loss plateaus, because I've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of weeks with women who have either are stuck in a weight loss journey. They've lost, some of them have lost 20 pounds and now they're stuck. Some of them have lost 70 pounds and now they're stuck. Or I've been talking to women who have lost weight and gotten stuck in a weight loss journey in the past. And so I want to talk about what causes these plateaus, how it kind of works with our physiology, and this concept of metabolic adaptation, so we can start to kind of work that into our understanding of health and fitness, of hormones, of cortisol, of all these kind of things, because it does all go together. And so that's going to be what we're talking about today. So to kind of set the stage for this, first I want to kind of set up what metabolic adaptation is from a biological perspective. Okay, and so something that I tell all these women that I'm talking to in conversation is I say, weight loss plateaus are a very normal, regular thing to have happen. It actually means that your body is working like it's supposed to. And the reason that is because again, you've heard me use this frame of reference many times in the past, and we're going to use it again today. But this idea of the kind of the hunter-gatherer frame of reference. And so to kind of like go over that once again, our body hasn't changed a whole lot since our ancestors were hunter-gatherers, living in small communities, building their homes, moving around all the time. We have 2 eyeballs, we have 4 appendages, we have opposable thumbs, we have hearts and lungs and stomachs and 2 butt cheeks. Like, we're pretty much the same creature that our ancestors were when they were hunter-gatherers. Not a whole lot's really changed. Our physiology hasn't changed. The way our physiology functions hasn't really changed. Trout says hi. So these things, we're not that different from them. And this concept of a weight loss plateau, of metabolic adaptation, is something that was designed to help us survive during hunter-gatherer times that doesn't serve us super great today. Like a lot of things in our physiology that just is not adapted to society the way that we live in the world now. And so, back when our ancestors were running around eating berries and killing bunnies, right, and try not to die and starve to death, during periods of time where, maybe there was a drought, right, and there's not a whole lot of extra vegetation and things that they can eat, and so the amount of food that they're able to consume is drastically lower this year for some reason. Something that they could not control, and if there's a drought for all of those fruits and vegetables and vegetation, then there's going to be less of that stuff for other animals, and so there's going to be less other animals, and there's just not as much food for them to be consuming. And so when that happens, if they start to suddenly, have a hard time finding food, well, they're going to start losing weight. They're not going to be getting enough nutrition in. They're not going to get enough nutrients. They're not going to get enough calories. All of these kind of things are going to start to happen. And as that happens, they're going to lose weight. And as they lose weight, their body goes, uh-oh, there must not be a whole lot of food around right now. We must be in a drought. We need to try and not starve to death. And so what happened is gradually over time, right, the people whose bodies could recognize that and prevent them from starving survived. And the people whose bodies could not recognize that and couldn't stop them from starving died. As a consequence, we are here today with bodies that can prevent us from starving. And this prevention of starvation is metabolic adaptation. And what that kind of is from a technical or more of like a scientific perspective is metabolic adaptation refers to the downregulation of calorie expenditure. Okay, and this goes across all systems in the body. If you remember back to our metabolism episode, our metabolism consists of our basal metabolic rate, which is the calories that you would burn to just lay on a couch all day and not do anything. It takes energy not to be dead, so it takes energy to do that. The next one is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your NEAT. This is like I'm gesturing while I'm talking. This is, you talk on the phone and you walk around. This is walking to your car. Non-conscious movement. The next is the energy required to process food. And then the final is exercise or consciously chosen movement. And so across all of those buckets, metabolic adaptation serves to decrease the amount of calorie expenditure going on in an attempt to bring the amount of calorie burn that we have closer to the amount of calorie consumption that we've got going on. And the reason that this happens is, again, if our ancestors were in a drought and food was scarce, if they did not decrease their calorie expenditure, they were going to starve to death and die. We have the same system. So this is what metabolic adaptation is from that perspective of the physiology that we have inherited from our ancestors. And so now let's kind of switch gears a little bit and talk more in terms of like the lingo that we use today with weight loss on social media, all that kind of stuff. And so if you think about the process of metabolic adaptation, I said that this happens to everyone. So let's bring this into some more understandable kind of terms. So first and foremost, weight loss or tissue catabolism. Okay, this is the destruction of tissue for the use of energy. Okay, weight loss causes metabolic adaptation. Hard stop, period. It is what causes metabolic adaptation. There are not other things that cause metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation is fundamentally, in and of itself, something caused by calorie restriction and subsequently the destruction of tissue to make up the energy difference. That is what causes metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation is also sometimes called adaptive thermogenesis. Thermogenesis meaning the process of burning things to produce energy, and adaptive meaning like it has the ability to adapt to the circumstances that it's presented with. Again, this is why, you start a weight loss journey and all of a sudden everything's going great and then suddenly it stops because your body has adapted to the new circumstances and it has changed its thermogenesis in response to what you've been doing so that you don't starve to death, right? That's what's going on. And so again, this adaptive thermogenesis, this metabolic adaptation, is going to lower our basal metabolic rate. It's going to decrease our non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's going to cause lots of different altered hormonal function, okay? Some of the major ones, hormone-wise, that kind of get wrangled up into this kind of umbrella term of metabolic adaptation, you're going to see alterations in thyroid hormone. You are going to see less active form of thyroid hormone being produced. You're going to see less peripheral conversion of T4 into T3, the active form of thyroid hormone, so that's going to decrease your metabolism. You're going to see increases in cortisol. You're going to see decreases in your satiety hormones, or feeling the hormones that make you feel full. You're going to see increases in the hormones that make you more hungry. So again, all of this stuff kind of works together on a global scale, a global physiological scale, to try and get you to burn less calories and eat more food. This is what metabolic adaptation is. Burn more calories, burn less calories, eat more food. That's what's going on. It's trying to get you to do the opposite of what you were doing that got you to where you're at, which was burn more calories, eat less food. Metabolic adaptation says burn less calories, eat more food. And that's why this is hard. That's why we get stuck, right? That's kind of how it goes. And so, as you go through this process of metabolic adaptation, sometimes it happens quickly and you lose 10 pounds and then you're stuck. Sometimes it doesn't and you lose 70 pounds and then you're stuck. But regardless, sooner or later, your body will have adapted fully to the current circumstances that have led to the weight loss that you've been experiencing, right? And then you will get stuck. And then you will have an inability to lose weight. And so again, we'll look at this little graph here to kind of, again, further drive this point home. So on this graph, you see consumed and expected. Okay, and so there's the amount of calories you consume versus the amount of calories your body is expecting. when there are differences between the amount of calories consumed and the amount of calories that your body is expecting, like we see in this example with the red bar on top, right? That's the energy that was not consumed. That was the energy deficit, the difference between what was consumed and what was expected. When what we are consuming is less than what our body is expecting, we are going to be causing metabolic adaptation to occur. We're going to be decreasing our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, decreasing our BMR. Hormones are going to start to function differently. They may get fully blown dysfunctional, and this is what causes metabolic adaptation. Now, something that I want to make sure that is absolutely clear is that most people right now believe that hormone dysfunction is causing an inability to lose weight via metabolic adaptation. This is not true. Hormone dysfunction is a facet of metabolic adaptation. It is not the cause of metabolic adaptation. It is a symptom of metabolic adaptation. It's not a cause. Okay? Please understand this. So many people think that cortisol is a cause. It is not. Cortisol is a symptom. Hormonal dysfunction is a symptom of metabolic adaptation. It does not go hormone problems, metabolic adaptation, inability to lose weight. That's not how it goes. It goes metabolic adaptation, hormone dysfunction, inability to lose weight. Metabolic adaptation is the cause of hormone dysfunction. And if we want to keep going back, consuming differences between what's expected of our body and what we actually consume, when there's a discrepancy here, when we're in a calorie deficit, calorie deficits are what cause metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation includes hormone dysfunction, and all of those things together is what cause us to be unable to lose weight. Your hormones are not causing an inability to lose weight. Your compromised metabolism is what's causing you to not be able to lose weight. And your hormones are a symptom of your compromised metabolism, not the cause. They are not the cause. I promise. And if you haven't seen one of my most recent reels, we talk about that because eating in a calorie deficit or doing what's required to burn body fat, okay, when we're losing weight, it's one of the most cortisol-inducing things you can do to your system for this exact reason, okay? As far as every little cell in our body is concerned, when we're pulling energy out of our fat tissue to keep the rest of our body alive because we're not eating enough food to hit what our body expects us to be eating every day, our body freaks out. All the little cells in our body looking out at their very small little world, all they see is less energy going by. And so they start to ring the alarm bells and they go, oh my gosh, the food's going scarce. There's no food on the grocery store shelves. What are we going to do? And everybody starts freaking out and ringing the bells and shitting their pants. All the little cells in your body. That's what's going on when we're losing weight. Up here, right, in our conscious mind, we know what's going on. But all these little cells that just do processes all day have no idea that this is an intentional thing that we're doing, and they just think that we're going to starve to death. And so they start freaking out, hoarding energy, slowing themselves down, trying to burn less calories, and our system just freaks out. It freaks out. That's what happens. That's metabolic adaptation in a nutshell. And if you keep letting it freak out for too long, then you get stuck in a weight loss plateau. This is metabolic adaptation. So I'm going to wrap this up real quick because I don't want this to be a super long episode because I want to be able to send this out to lots of people to kind of get this point across. But when it comes to undoing metabolic adaptation, adaptive thermogenesis, there's 4 big things that you have to cover. And these are the core 4 that we preach and teach in our system, in our process. And so the first thing that I've been solving for everybody is food. I have a food calculator. It's super cool. It's super quick. And it's absolutely free. I'd love to send that over to you. Just find me on Instagram or my phone number. Just text me or message me food. I'd love to send that over to you. And also check out all of the core 4 episodes that we've done recently so that you can start to understand how to undo the metabolic adaptation that has occurred in your system so that you can fix that and either get over your weight loss plateau to continue losing weight or, start and understand what's going to happen with a weight loss plateau so you can overcome it in the future and get to your goal weight ultimately in the end. So short little episode there on metabolic adaptation. I'm really trying to get the point across that your hormones are not the problem that's keeping you stuck, and believing that is not going to, if you believe that your hormones are the thing that's causing you to stay stuck, you're going to stay stuck, because the hormone dysfunction is a symptom, not a cause. Metabolic adaptation, calorie deficits, these are the causes of the hormone dysfunction. And so we need to fix the cause, not the symptom. Okay, we don't want to fix the symptom. We want to fix the cause. So that's it for our episode today. As always, I hope that the time that you spent with me today was worth it, because your time is your most valuable resource. And so if you spent that with me here today, I greatly appreciate it. I hope that I made it worth your time. If I did, I would love if you would rate the show, give it a review, share it with a friend. That's the only real way that this grows. And I just am super passionate about getting this stuff out, educating people. And the more that you guys share it, the more people whose lives that we get to change. And hopefully the more people get to lose weight and achieve their health and fitness goals and feel amazing and be the best version of themselves that they can be. So thank you again, and I will see y'all in the next one.